Of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody, and welcome inside a Wednesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. I'm Anthony Hartwig. Ty Bartell, he's officially on vacation, but don't worry, we have you covered. It's Wrestling Wednesdays with Gary Altizer, and Gary, not just you and me today, we're going to be joined by a couple of coaches.
Yeah, pretty excited. Kenny Beaumont from United and Johnny McComas from Wrs Local. A couple great guys, a couple great coaches, some good content coming on. I'm ready to talk some wrestling.
Speaking of Johnny McComas, he's in the green room. Let's let him in. Coach, joining us from Beaver Local, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you guys?
Good.
We are good. We are good. We want to start this interview by the way we do with all these, the first coaches we have on. Talk about some of the players that have really been big impacts this year. Some of maybe the young kids that have stepped up really well. And so far now that we're in January, what would you give maybe the mid-season grade?
I would say, right now our senior leaders are two number one seeds going into the OVAC this weekend. Would be Logan Wrs and Mark Amerlang. They've both won this tournament before, so just the rest of those guys to be able to to look up to them, watch them, and just kind of helps them to see that that they wrestle with these guys every day, like in this room. So just help, just kind of help them, and just make sure that the moment's not too big. And, other than that, we have a lot of young guys in the lineup too that stepped right in and worked hard. And I don't know.
Coach, we know the standard of wrestling at Beaver Local is high. Talk about some of the things that you expect from your kids and you always make sure that they're held accountable for every year.
Yeah. Really this weekend, I'm just excited to see our kids compete. Our last big tournament that we were in, Brecksville, it ended up getting canceled. So, these guys work hard. They grind every day. I just love to see these guys compete. And here, our guys, it's not really something that we put on them, but they just did it. Our guys just expect to win year after year, just kind of like, I don't know, more just tradition, I guess. They want to represent our program the right way. They want to, go down and just show everybody, all the hard work that they've put in.
Gary, you got something?
Hey, Johnny, what's up? So I know I'm pretty excited about this weekend. You've got to be, especially with Logan and with Marky. With Logan, he's got a chance to be a three-timer, and if not for last year, I'm sure he would have had a really good chance to be a four-timer. What's his mindset right now in the room? You got a nationally ranked kid. He's going to a Division I school. He's so well known around not only this area but the state and the rest of the country. So what's his leadership been like this year, and what's his mindset right now heading to the OVACs?
Logan just super focused right now in this room. Nothing can shake him. He's just he's super late, just laser focused. He has one goal in mind, and that's getting his state title. He's done just about everything that there is to do in this sport.
Right.
As of right now, the one thing that he doesn't have is a state title, and so that's been his focus. And I have no doubt that he's going to go to the state tournament and not only win it but dominate. He's
last year, for anybody that doesn't know, Logan, he made it to the state finals and he was winning with Johnny, about 10 seconds left, and then he gave up a takedown right as about time expired in the state final. So when Johnny says he's ready to dominate, I couldn't imagine. He's probably crawling out of his skin ready to get to that state tournament this year, being that close last year. It's just one of those things when you get elite kids on the mat, it's sometimes who scores last that wins.
Right. And he had a dominant performance at Ironman. We were all proud of him there. If you even get on the podium at Ironman, you're super legit. And to get in the finals and have the match that he did against another nationally ranked wrestler and Angela Ferrari, it was a great match, overtime, and that hasn't set him back at all. He came back. He lifted the very next morning whenever we got back. So he's focused. He's ready to go.
Coach, talk about what kind of a blessing it is to have someone like Logan for the younger kids and have someone with that standard, that drive that you already talked about, and being able to watch that and learn from that and what it's meant to them.
Right. Logan doesn't talk a whole lot. He's kind of a quiet kid, but to just, for the other kids in the room to just see, what it's supposed to look like whenever you're in here drilling, whenever you're going live, how you should be competing every day. After practice, when he stays and gets on the treadmill or he goes over and lifts, he's on the shot sled, whatever it is, the rest of those guys are able to see that, especially our younger guys that look up to him. And, that's been a big help. It's really like having another coach in the room, even better sometimes. So, we're thankful for him and, all of his hard work and what he does for us here.
Gary, I'm sure you can kind of mirror this, but sometimes having a guy that can lead by example is just as important as a guy that can be a vocal leader.
Oh, they're more important if you ask me, because it's usually the quiet leaders who lead by action, that they're the ones that everybody pays attention to. You can talk, anybody can talk, but not everybody can do those things. And when you don't have a guy like that in the room is when it really becomes quite obvious at how powerful having those guys in your room are and how much of a difference they make. So it's absolutely a good thing to have. And really, if you don't have one, you sure wish you did.
Coach, I want to give you the chance to talk about your coaching staff, the people that help you build this program, the people that help you make it what it is, and some of the guys behind the scenes that might not be a part of this interview, but definitely want to get the limelight out to them.
Yeah, I'm blessed to be in this position with a great staff, not only a great staff, but just great support system in general, with our administration, our boosters. We have great fans that travel well. Anything we need, all of those guys make it happen. So we're all super thankful for that. But on the coaching staff is Mark Amerlang. He was a 4-time OVAC champ himself. His son is our 138 going into this weekend, seated first. He's he's an excellent asset in our room. He shows a lot of technique. Has obviously been around, this sport and this program a long time. Also, Chad Bowersock. He's been in the involved in our program for a long time. He also has a son that's a freshman this year. He's been wrestling at 106. He's bumped up for us this weekend to try to help the team out a little bit. He's wrestling 113. He's been great. He coached junior high for us the past 2 years, and he's been a great guy to have in this room. Also, TJ Osmond, or Miller rather. I'm sorry. He's kind of been my voice of reason the past couple of years. When I'm whenever I have a question, maybe don't know what to do in a certain situation, TJ is very intelligent, so and a guy that I can trust. So I always bounce ideas off of him, and he's been a great help. Not only a great help, he's a great friend, and that's important to have around too. I appreciate those guys a lot, along with some of the older guys, the old head coach, Jordan Williams, Doug Hoppel still comes around and helps out. It's great when those guys stop in. All the kids love them. We're in a pretty good situation here.
I know
So,
Gary is itching to talk about that OVAC tournament coming up this weekend.
Yeah. So, Johnny, what you guys got, 5 or 6 seeded this weekend?
I think we have 7.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, 7 seeded, 1 alternate seed. Yeah.
So, we know Mark, he's been a champ. Logan's been a champ a couple times. But some of these other guys have got a good shot. I know you got some veteran guys in there that are seeded as well. Is there anybody in particular you're looking that might have a good weekend this weekend? A guy that's been around, he's wrestled his whole life, and maybe this is his time?
Yeah. I definitely expect a big weekend out of Dorian Jackson. He is our 145-pounder. He's actually not seeded, but I feel he definitely should be. He's going to be up there somewhere. He's looked great up at 150 for us. Placed high at a few tournaments already. Has won some nice matches. So, I'm excited to see him down at more his natural weight, down at 145. I think he could have a real great weekend.
You got you also have another former champ on your team in Jamin, right? Salisbury. Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, you got another guy who's been a champ before, and he's bumped up in weight, and we didn't have the tournament last year, so I'm sure he's ready to get back on the podium. Right.
He is. He's motivated this week. Especially dropping from 138 down to 132 this week. He's been in here working hard. He's another guy that might come with a little chip on his shoulder this weekend over where he was seated. Simply because he's beat 2 of the guys seated above him right now. So he's definitely ready to go. He's going to be excited to wrestle these guys. And I definitely expect a big weekend out of him too.
I mean, you talk about him having a chip on his shoulder. I mean, how big is that mental edge for wrestlers to have just some kind of motivation like that going into a match or a meet?
Yeah. It's wrestling is basically 90% mental. You just gotta, I don't know, having something a little bit extra, maybe a chip on your shoulder, or a tournament that you really want to place at, something you really want to accomplish, something to give you just like a little extra when you're in this room drilling that week, getting a little better shape, and it just kind of helps to focus you. And it's not just another match. You're trying to peak and compete at the highest level that you can.
Your junior high, you got a pretty good junior high program this year too, and I know you sent some kids that what was it, Best of Midwest,
right?
It was, and I know that I've been hearing about Jake Hughes for years. That kid, I seen his resume, and the only person I've ever in my life seen that had a resume locally that was even in the stratosphere of Logan Hours is Jake Hughes. Can you talk about him? He's a 7th grader now, is that right?
Yeah. He's in 7th grade, super stud, multiple time state champion, and he's another guy that just comes in, walks around with a lot of confidence. He's been everywhere. He's done it all. He brings a good presence in this room. Someone else that these guys can look up to. A guy that comes in here and works hard every day. And not only that, after his practice, he's either lifting, he's coming back in to wrestle with our guys a little bit. And we definitely expect him to have a bright future.
Yeah, it's got to be exciting with a guy like that and waiting in the wings. You got Logan now, and then you'll have Jake in the future. One thing I was going to ask, Anthony, With your upper weights, Johnny, you got some guys filling in, some guys moving around. I noticed that some of your heavier guys that the last few years have dropped down a weight class or two, and I seen you got a couple of those guys seated as well. You know, you guys have had a lot of good lower weights, but now I see these heavier weights are getting better. You have anybody that might be coming in under the radar here? Let's say from 165 up.
At 170, we have a freshman, Kane Curran. A lot of potential, possibly a little bit undersized for 170 this weekend. But I would say his more natural weight's around 160, but he's going up. He's helping the team for us. I think you're going to hear his name a lot in the next couple of years. He's looking really good and progressing, maturing. 182 sophomore Gabe Morgan was close to making the state tournament last year. Seated 10th at 182. We definitely expect him to be much higher than that this weekend. And same thing at heavyweight. Junior Zane McCoy. He's looked great this year. And he's kind of. He's developed really well, you know, able to stay in there and win those tight matches that he was struggling with the last 2 years. Just staying in there, battling, competing, and has really progressed and has the ability to win those tight matches now.
What's he weigh, Coach? Is he about 270?
Yeah, 260, 270.
So he's a good weight then. He's a nice size for a heavyweight. And I remember him. I could tell he had some potential. The last time, a couple of years ago, I saw him wrestle, and I seen he had some potential in him. I thought if he got a little bit bigger with some more mat time, he was going to be a pretty good heavyweight. It's nice to see him progress like that.
Coach, before we let you, I do want to ask, you know, coaching at any sport takes a lot of time, a lot of commitment, and a lot of work. What is it about coaching for you, especially at this level, that you love so much and makes all the time that you put in worth it?
Really, I've been in this room since I was 4 or 5 years old. I just love this program and everything that it's done for me. I learned my most valuable life lessons here in this room, and just being able to give back. Back to the program, and to be able to do that for other kids is, means a lot to me.
And talk about this Beaver local community real quick. Sorry to cut you off, Gary, but this Beaver local community real quick. And we know how strong it is. Every time we talk about Beaver local or have someone from Beaver local on, our views spike up. So talk about what it's like to have them behind you and what it's like to be a part of the Beaver local community.
Yeah, our community really rallies around these kids, and anything we need, they're going to make it happen. If Beaver local wrestling needs something, they never say no. We get good crowds at our dual meets. A lot of support there, and I think we have the best fans around. That they travel to Columbus every year with us. And, I think that's a big part of why, we're able to not only go, but put people on the box in Columbus year after year. It's just the support and what it means to the community. The kids see that, they feel that it means a lot to them, especially when we're driving down 170 on our way to Columbus, the fire trucks, the police, people standing along the roads. It's really something special. It's something these kids look forward to, and even something that we get our youth involved with. Something that they're able to see and to keep kids involved, because wrestling is not. It's definitely not a fun sport at times. So it takes that. It takes something a little bit extra like that to. To build a program like this.
And what I was going to say, Anthony, was what Johnny said about, he's been in that room since he was 4 or 5 years old. He learned life lessons and want to give it back to the community. I don't think he could have put that any better. Nobody coaches this sport for any other reason than that. And like he said, wrestling is not fun sometimes. So seeing the fire truck, seeing the people out supporting you, people following you around, that's what gives the kids a little bit of extra motivation when they don't feel like grinding for 2.5 hours every single day and for 12 hours on the weekends.
Coach, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. It was great to hear from you. Good luck the rest of the season, and we look forward to talking to you again real soon.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Johnny. See you tomorrow.
That was Johnny McComas, the head coach of the Beaver Local Wrestling Program. And I think, Gary, we've talked about Beaver Local a lot. We can't speak too highly of that program and what they're building over there.
Yeah, he's done a great job. And, he's got a lot of really good kids on his team. And, he's got a couple of number one seeds, and somebody that did, kind of on their radar is another kid, Jamin Salisbury, that was a former OVAC champion, that now, we didn't have a tournament last year, and he didn't win it the year before that. So he's kind of under the radar. They've got those kind of kids all through their lineup. And that junior high program, the 7th grade class that they have is really good. They're going to be really good when they come up. So, it'll be exciting to see how they progress as a program.
And, it's not just a program that popped on the scene and all of a sudden good. I mean, it's had a long history of being great. What do you think are some of the keys they have to keep popping out these great talents and keep popping out state contenders and keep that success at the standard even after some of these great kids graduate and leave their program?
I thought about that in the past, and really Beaver Local as a school district isn't that old in the grand scheme of things. I think that it came around in like the 60s, if I remember right. My next door neighbor, he graduated from the first or second class ever from Beaver Local, and I believe it was in the 60s at some point. So they had a family of wrestlers, the Hopples, who it had to be right when the school district opened. They were successful, state placers, state champions. So I think that laid a foundation for them as a school and as a program of, what kind of, when it comes to a sport, what sport are we as a district going to be known as? And I think that the wrestling, because of that Hopple family laying that foundation of success, really put their stamp on, their mark on the area and the state for what they will, what they're going to be known as. And that tradition just continued on. And having good people like Johnny, he wrestled there his whole life. He went off to college and wrestled. He came back. He works in the district. He became an assistant coach, and now he's the head coach. Having people like that wanting to come back, wanting to give back to the community, wanting to put in the work, wanting to put in the time, doing those, you got to have those kind of people. It doesn't matter what kind of tradition you have. If you don't have people like that stepping up, that tradition will dry up very quick. So like him, like Coach Williams before him, those guys are Beaver Local graduates, and they came back because they love the community and the sport and wanted to give back. So a foundation like they had, they continued on, and then former wrestlers and people in the community coming back to give back is really that's a formula for success in the wrestling world.
And I love one of my favorite things about that interview is that he said that he's been there since he was 4 or 5 years old in that room. And I just feel like in my experience, whether you're coaching football or basketball or volleyball or wrestling, whatever sport you're coaching, it's a lot easier to grab respect from the program if you're someone that has a history with it. If you're someone that's an alum, you're someone that they know that you care about the program. You're not going to do anything to hurt it. I'm not saying that coaches don't come out of teams that they don't have a history with and have success, but it's just in my experience, it seems like it's a lot easier to have a coach that has been there or is an alum or in some way, shape, or form you can really trust they have a deeper respect for the program and they don't want to hurt it.
Oh, absolutely. And it's easy for the parents of the community to trust a person like that too. You get a new coach, and if you don't know that person, you don't know what to expect with a guy like Johnny coming in. I'm sure there was no reservations from anyone out there. So he took over for Jordan Williams, who had a really great run as a coach, and he was and he still is very well loved out there. Jordan is, but that community feels the same way about Johnny. So him taking over had to been a very easy transition for the school and the program because he was already in that room as it was as an assistant coach, and he did a lot of work like every assistant coach does. No head coach can be successful without people behind them helping them out, because this sport I don't know what it's like with basketball or football, but the amount of paperwork that we have to do is absolutely unreal. It's I can't tell you how much paperwork we have to have. I had to, for this OVAC tournament, I had a packet of I don't know how many sheets of different things that I had to fill out and mail in ahead of time. And then I've got to take another pile of papers with me when we get there just to walk in the door. And that's just for one tournament. So a head coach has to worry about all of that kind of stuff. He's got to have a good assistant coach behind him to help him do the day-to-day stuff while he's taking care of the paperwork, talking to the parents, talking to administration, talking to the tournament directors, the other head coaches. So, Johnny was there doing all, the day-to-day stuff, I'm sure, helping do that. And it probably made him a lot better head coach because he already had that stuff under his belt.
That's what I love about head coaches, because I think they get. I don't think people think about that. I think they just are this polarizing figure that's on the sidelines screaming at the kids or coaching the kids up, doing the interviews, and you don't think about all the paperwork and all the administrational stuff that head coaches have to do. It could be something as small as, hey, we need new uniforms because we haven't had new uniforms in like 7 years, so we need to find a way to get new uniforms. We need to do fundraisers, things like that the head coaches are all in charge of. I don't think people think about that enough.
No, they don't. And, like for myself, the end of the 9 weeks is coming up. So I've been, checking with my kids to see how their grades are, asking them what they need help with, telling them to bring it with them, on them about it. That's on top of everything else that's going on. We have to make sure that their weights are good because the state, again, we talked about that, the alpha testing that we have tells us what weight they're allowed to go. So we have to make sure they're within, whatever weight the state says that they're allowed to go. We have points. Every match that we have, there is a point value assessed to it, and each wrestler is only allowed 20 total points for the season. So we have to keep track of that. If something is canceled, like Johnny said, the Brecksville canceled, Medina canceled, Top Gun canceled, all these big tournaments canceled. So then you got to go contact other coaches to find replacements. You and your AD are working together trying to do that. So this doesn't even count. We haven't even got to practice yet. We haven't even got to practice yet. So there's so much involved with it that my main assistant coach, Tim Sarge, has been probably the best thing that's happened to our program since I've been there. And I absolutely could not do this job without him. And the other guys, Justin Guerin, Bobby Sims, Nate Ketchum, Seth Bloor, Josh Coyle. I've had a great bunch of assistant coaches come in and help me throughout the years, and I owe pretty much everything to them.
You can see Ty Bartell chiming in on vacation. We appreciate you tuning in. He wants to know, what 300 career wins. I mean, what's that in comparison to 3,000? Or is it 100?
Okay, I was gonna say 300. If someone did that,
it's 100. Sorry, 100.
Okay, yeah, it's probably similar to 1,000 points because to score 1,000 points in basketball, most
of have to do it freshman to senior year. Exactly. I mean, is that pretty much wrestling? I mean, if you don't start as a freshman, you're not going to get 100, right?
Right, exactly. So you got to average 25 wins a year. So if you don't get to 25 as a freshman, you've got to make up for that as a sophomore, junior, senior. So it's just a consistent. You got to be consistent. You've got to be good from the jump. You've got to stay healthy. You've got to stay eligible, and you've got to stay in the sport. So there's a lot of things you have to do to get there.
Makes it impressive to see kids like Sean O'Horo and Mara from West Branch. They're both getting well over 100.
Yeah, exactly. Now there are a lot of pool tournaments they call pool. So what they'll do is they'll put everybody from a certain weight class together, and you're allowed to wrestle up to 5 times a day. You'll see 2-day pool tournaments where you can get 10 matches in total on the weekend. So now kids are getting more matches. You're seeing 150 wins now becoming a new milestone. So you're probably going to see that more and more as time goes on. Where back in the day, where mostly you would wrestle 1 or 2, 3 tournaments a year, 4 tournaments a year, and then the rest duels. Now it's more like you're wrestling 7 or 8 tournaments and then also duels in between. And the state has eased up on the points where they used to count duels as 1 point. Now it's a half a point. They used to count a quad, which is 4 teams. 4 teams would wrestle the other 1 team would wrestle the other 3, and so on. It's now only 1.5 points instead of 2 points. So you have more points to work with to get more matches in. So you're going to see that 150 mark be more and more common as time goes on.
And we will definitely stay up to date on that and try to give kids shout out every time we see them hit that milestone. Like we said, we know Sean O'Horo is close, and Stephen Mara is pretty close too. Both of them with, I believe, in the 140s right now, 144 for O'Horo, and I think 145 around there for Stephen Mara.
Yeah, those are a couple of really good wrestlers, well-known names within the local wrestling community. Congratulations to those guys. We were just talking about the Mara kid before we went on air, how he was also a beast on the football field. I believe he's ranked second in the state right now in Division II at 215, and O'Horo is ranked 10th, I believe, at 138. He's heavier than that. He's ranked 10th, whatever weight class that he's in right now. And, Division I, that's the big schools. Boardman and Austintown Fitch are the only local Division I schools around. Those are the schools with, 400 kids per grade. So that's where you see, a lot of the Division I wrestlers come out of those type of schools. So if you rank to the top 10 there, you're doing something right.
We have Kenny Beaumarriage coming up at 12:35. We're going to take a quick break and be back to preview that conversation with the head coach of United Wrestling after this break on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends: shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring. And, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Wrs Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the four words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
Coca's Pizza, always supporting our community and our local athletes. Stop in on game day or score big and have it delivered right to your door. Check out our daily specials at cocaspizza.com. That's Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education, and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University, and proud.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. I'm Anthony Hartwig, and we're joined by Gary Altizer.
Anthony, a little under the weather there. So that's all right. Yeah, it's that time of year. It's that time of year.
Got a little tickle.
Now,
We're good.
you didn't get a fur ball from that weird jacket you got on, do you? It wasn't sucked up with some lint up there or anything, right? I'm a 49ers fan, so.
Oh, so you remember the Super Bowl?
Vaguely, yeah, I vaguely.
Without further ado, we have another wrestling coach to bring on our Wrestling Wednesday program. We have Kenny Beaumarriage from United on with us. Kenny, Coach, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
What's up, Kenny?
It's that time of year, just like you said. It's that time of year.
I feel like we're back to if you cough all of a sudden anywhere you're gonna get stared at.
Yeah, exactly.
Coach, but we want to start this interview off by letting you talk about your players in your program, some of the people that have really stepped up this year, some of the young players that have stepped up, and maybe some of your leaders that have helped you really grow as a team this year.
Oh, we have a senior, Kane Brereton, who has came out when he was a sophomore for us. Kind of didn't start his sophomore year right away for being a first-year wrestler when we started, but kind of took a backseat role to Beau Brungard, our state qualifier that year. But he has really improved over the last 2 years, and we really expect him to do big things at the end of the year this year. He won the first 2 tournaments of the year. He finished 4th at Waterloo and just had a runner-up finish at Jackson Milton. But he's doing really well. He's our only senior on the team this year, so we're not losing much. But we got a big group of juniors. We have 6 juniors that we started this program for. This is our 4th year. So we started in 2018. The juniors that are on the team right now, they were all in 8th grade when we started. We did just a big collection of kids that now know how to wrestle. They've been learning for the last couple of years. One of them that sticks out right now, Jensen Baker, like I heard you guys talk about him last week. Jensen has about 70 wins in 2.5 years of wrestling as a first-year kid. So he's doing amazing things. Another one right now that's wrestling up. He moved up a weight class, wrestling 190. He's Tucker Kiko, Bodie's little brother. He missed a tournament, missed Waterloo, but he's 14-3 on the year. We have a couple other kids that haven't done much yet, but they're right there. Gavin Berger was a district qualifier last year. He's 165 pounds. So he kind of led that. He led that group last year, being the only district qualifier to that our sophomores. And then we have a couple other kids that just have been around the program for long enough now that they're pretty experienced and they do good things for us in our lineup, but as well as like individual tournaments, they're scoring a lot of points for us. So we're looking pretty good as a team right now. And we don't have much. We don't have to worry about losing much next year. We're actually adding kids from the 8th grade coming in next year. So next year should be a really nice year with a ton of seniors on the team. Like, Gary's obviously been through that with his kids coming up through that program, and they develop and they develop and they develop, and you're always waiting and waiting and waiting. And when they hit their junior and senior year, then all of a sudden you start to win. I think Wellsville had probably if I'm not correct, Gary, the most wins ever in school history, if I'm correct?
Yeah, we set the school record for dual wins last year, and like Kenny said, it was just a slow build, and it looked like it happened overnight, but I'll tell you right now, it sure the heck didn't. And just like he said, you get a group of kids when they're younger. If they stick through it, if they come together, then when they get to be juniors and seniors, that's when the good things come.
It's 100% correct, man. Most people don't realize how much time it actually takes to take a first-year wrestler and progress them to year 2 and year 3, and those kids expect to be winning all the time. Right. But you get kids that have been wrestling for 8-9 years that are already in those programs that have had wrestling forever.
Right.
That's what we're competing against.
It's like the only comparison I can think of is try to take Try to go to a school that doesn't have a golf team, start a golf team, and the kid has never picked up a golf club, and go try to be competitive. That's what it's like with wrestling. It takes time. You don't grow up out back wrestling with a referee on a mat with all the rules, like you do playing football and basketball. So it is just not an easy thing to do. It takes time, and if you're not patient in this sport, you won't last long.
No, the only referee you have in wrestling as a kid is your mom or dad saying stop wrestling with your brother.
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna break something in this house. Quit wrestling. Coach, talk a little bit about a little bit deeper about like you said, it takes time. It's hard. Try to put into words what it took to build from where you started to where you're at now, and give people a little bit of a respect for how much it really did take and what a feat it is.
Well, that first year when we started, we went around the halls and we tried to find, first football players. That's our big thing. Like, our program is about obviously wrestling first, but we want to build good football players as well. So we got together with coach and we tried to get as many football players as we could, try to get as many athletes as we could. And at the end of the day, for me, if a kid wants to wrestle, we're going to take care of them. I mean, it's the one sport, right now that if you come out, especially for United, if you wrestle, there's no bench sitting. You're going to wrestle. You're going to practice. We wrestle a full JV schedule, not to mention a full girl schedule as well. So doesn't matter who they are, they're going to get the attention they need. But when they started, we had 26 kids come in the room for high school that first year and 6 junior high kids. And I think out of that entire group, we may have had 2 kids that wrestled maybe when they were in 3rd grade, and that was it. So we basically started day one. Here's how you stand on the line. Here's how you shake hands. Here's how when the match starts, this is the first thing you do. I mean, we were back to like stance motion. These kids had no foundation whatsoever. Fortunately for us, though, they were athletes. So when we hit the mat, if you're a good athlete and you can pick up on things, it took us about 3 to 4 weeks to really kind of hone in their athletic skills and merge them with maybe, I would say, 4 or 5 wrestling moves. And we kind of like hammered out, here's what you need to be able to do to wrestle for United. If you could do these 4 moves, you're going to be successful. We weren't doing, we didn't have the depth of moves that first year, but those 4 moves that we kind of used, they worked. And then the kids started winning. I do know the first event we went to the Pole and Duels, and I remember that very clearly. We did win a match that day because we had a full team. And you guys talk about fielding a team is important, but we had a full team. So we won a match, but I'm telling you, those other matches that we wrestled, those 4 matches, I mean, we were losing like 60-6. I think Poland actually blanked us 72-0, if I'm not mistaken. Just getting those kids to understand that, like, those teams have been around forever. And then just week to week, you just have to keep improving. And then those kids improved. We do a lot of film watching. So we film all of our matches, and that was very important from the beginning to be able to have every single match on film. We send them all out on YouTube. We don't use Huddle. We have a stats program that sends everything to the kids on YouTube. I thought that was a great idea because the kids sit around watching YouTube all day anyway. So why not put their matches right on YouTube? So we watch them that way. We talk about them. And to this day, we still use the exact same software program. But I'm going to tell you that to fill in those basic wrestling moves over that first year, I mean, that was a lot of time. It just takes a lot of time, man, because you don't, like you guys said, basketball. I knew how to play basketball when I was young. I didn't play basketball, but I sure as heck knew how to play. You basically mean passing, dribbling, shooting. Wrestling, you have no idea until you do it,
Coach, there's a question in the comments. I'm going to let both wrestling coaches kind of answer it because it's about trying to keep a balance between, the individualism of the sport and watching your stats. We were talking with Gary about getting you the career milestones of 150 wins and all that stuff that goes into it, while trying to balance kind of keeping kids with a level head and letting them not focus entirely on what their individual stats are. And when we talk to other sports coaches, they kind of try to keep their kids completely away from stats. Obviously, a different story in wrestling. So talk about from a wrestling coach's standpoint and trying to balance that with your kids.
Go ahead, Kenny.
Well, for us, it's, wrestling's one-on-one. So I always tell the kids that, you can have a good record, but at the end of the day, the kids look at the rankings. So it's pretty easy to see who's really good and who's really not. we go to some local tournaments. So the one thing we do for our kids is we make sure we go to tournaments where we can be competitive. But at the same time, we make sure we go to 2 tournaments where we're going to be challenged, basically with the big dogs. We go to Waterloo, the Division III Classic, and then we go to EOWL. And EOWL is the hardest wrestling conference in the state of Ohio. So what I tell my kids is, you can have a good record, you can be a good wrestler, but if you want to be somebody, you got to beat somebody to be someone. So when they go up against those kids, I say, this is the kid you have to beat in order to make a name for yourself. So it's pretty easy in wrestling to balance that statistics. I mean, it's one-on-one. So.
Yep. Exactly. And like, with Ty's question, how do you have them keep a level head? For us, we just try to tell them to stay, tell them to not look at the rankings. They're still going to look, but to not focus on it because it's just a number. And just like at boxing, you could be the best boxer in the world. You get caught with the right punch on the chin, you're going to sleep just like everybody else. In wrestling, you get somebody who puts themselves in a bad position, you could pin them and win the match. Those rankings don't mean anything. When you get out on the mat, it's the same size circle with one ref, the same amount of time on the mat, and just you and one other person. So it's not like they're holding a sign that says they're ranking or they're starting out, they're up 5-0 because they're ranked some, top 10 in the state. None of that matters. You just have to focus on yourself, what you can do, and block everything else out. So really, it's trying to keep them focused and worry about as little as possible, keeping them as loose as possible. That's how we try to do it. And that's really the kids who are the most loose, the ones who are napping before they go out and wrestle, always perform closer to their peak than the kids who are thinking about it all the time, who are staring at the brackets, who are walking around staring at their opponent. They're overthinking things, and it does not work in the sport. Like Coach McComb said, wrestling is 90% mental, and it might sound crazy to say that, but it 1,000% is, because if you're not in the right mental state, it doesn't matter physically what you're going to do, because you're not going to be right. If being loose, not overthinking things, letting things come natural, and going 100% is how you win in this sport.
Coach, you said you have a complete JV schedule, a complete girls schedule, which makes me want to bring up Dakota Mccracken becoming the first female wrestler to win a tournament for you guys at United. Talk about her and what it's been like to be able to work with her, and what that kind of feat means to not just her, but this program as well.
Man, well, I'll tell you, if you're going to talk about Dakota, I got to mention her brother first, because her brother is an amazing wrestler, and he's only a sophomore. The family, even the brother that isn't wrestling now, Daniel, was a state qualifier for us in 8th grade. So the entire family's had success with wrestling. So Dakota wrestled last year as an 8th grader. We have a great junior high wrestling coach, Tyler Litza. He grew up in Pittsburgh area, where I grew up as well. So we both wrestled in the same district when we were in high school. But Tyler's done a great job with Dakota. So I kind of inherited her. She had some skill. But listen, she's very strong. She's got a height advantage. She's wrestling 235, which is that's a top end weight you can be for girls heavyweight. So you could be anywhere from 190 to 235. But right now, I feel like, in my opinion, Dakota could wrestle with any girl in the state right now. We wrestle that full girls schedule. So every Monday night we go to Marlington, and at Marlington, they will actually give the girls matches only. And then they let them choose to wrestle some boys if they want to. We headed up to Lutheran West, and Dakota won the first tournament for us. She went 4-0. She pinned everybody. I think one girl she pinned in the second period, but she pinned everybody else in the first period. She's ranked 7th in the state right now, which, between her and her brother is ranked higher than her brother. So obviously we have that inter-family dilemma, the siblings, kind of the rivalry right now. Dakota's a freshman. So, but like I got to point out, we also have 3 other girls that are doing very well. Like Hadley Brereton is my 215-pound sister, also wrestling, and I think right now she has 9 wins against girls. So she's doing really well. She has, I think 2 wins against the boys. So we kind of gauge that. You got to gauge, like, are they winning against the girls? Are they winning against the boys? Dakota right now, I believe she has 4 wins against the boys overall for this year. So I mean, they're doing amazing things. I had a wrestler, Ethan Stout, who Gary would remember last year in our duel was won, I think 38, got a pin for us. He isn't wrestling anymore for us, but his sister, Lucy Stout, she's wrestling for us now. And right now she has 5 or 6 wins. So overall, the girls are getting better and better. And these are our high school girls, not to mention what Coach Tyler has, as we have 4 middle school girls. I'm not going to mention any names yet, because you're going to know their name next year. but they are, I think right now they are, I mean, we got one of them 17-1, 12-3. I think the other one's like 14-4. This is against the boys. So in middle school, we basically just wrestled the girls in a normal boys middle school schedule. We took them up to that Lutheran West tournament, and they went a combined like 12-1 against the girls. That's the thing, when those girls are wrestling against the boys all year, and then they come back and they wrestle the girls in the girls events, and it's so much easier for them. I have right now my middle school girls at OAC, one that was a state champion, a state runner-up, and a state 5th place. So next year when they're 9th graders and we combine these 9th graders with the girls on our girls team now, I mean, we're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the girls program. That's what we're looking forward to. We're really trying to develop those girls as much as we possibly can right now.
One of the things that we always want to make sure we do before we let coaches go is give them a chance to highlight their staff, the people that work with them, and the people that make this program one day is a little bit behind the scenes. We know coaches get the interviews, but they would be nothing without their assistants. So give them some shout outs and talk about the people that work with you.
Well, for me, Justin Mitchell is my youth head wrestling coach. He does an amazing job. He coached junior high for me for 2 years, so he has a lot to do with these juniors that are doing really well. Right now, my junior high coach, Tyler Litza, doing an amazing job. This is his 2nd year for me. Coach Jay Kilroy, he's also a 9th grade and 11th grade math teacher here at United, so he also gets to see all the students. He's been with me since the beginning for 4 years. We also have Coach Matt Galchek, who's his 1st year on with us, and Caleb Messersmith, who actually wrestled for me at Salem as a heavyweight 4 or 5 years ago when I was a head coach at Salem. So those guys are doing an amazing job for me. I wouldn't be able to do this without. We have 5 coaches on the staff, and they take care of a lot of the legwork at practice with me. So they do a great job.
Yeah, you know what? One thing I want to mention about Kenny, and he's done an amazing job, and he's the only guy that I've seen who started a program from scratch or started one that, maybe you've had wrestling in the past, but you had to start over, kind of like we did. But Kenny's doing it right because, first off, he teaches in the school, which he's so freaking lucky to be able to do that. I mean, that is enormous. He gets it, and not only that, he sees every single freshman in that high school. So he's in a perfect spot as a high school coach. And then he's got he focused on his junior high. I don't know. I don't understand what it is in the wrestling community, why people don't get it. Your junior high is the bridge to a successful high school program. That is how it works in this sport. Yeah, you could take a freshman, and by the time they get to be a senior, they'll be pretty good, or a junior, but it's a lot harder. Start when they're in 7th grade, and you have a healthy junior high program. Your high school program will be successful, and the numbers will take care of itself. So I think Kenny's doing it right, and he's got guys on the staff that teach, guys that are on the football staff. He's got guys that used to wrestle for him in the past. He's got guys that will focus on certain weights. So if anybody wants to know, man, how can we build up our program, or how do we start one from scratch, call this guy.
I appreciate that, Gary. Our duel last year, that was a lot of fun too. Like most people don't realize that they weren't there at that EOAC duel we did with Columbia and Wellsville. And that was a ton of fun. I mean, people need to get out and watch matches like that,
right?
Where we're showing up, and I know Gary was showing up. We all thought we could win. I think all 3 coaches went into that try, knowing that was going to be the EOAC championship probably. Right. And man, the fans were screaming, going crazy. I mean, everything was happening, and the last 2 years. I mean, obviously Wellsville's been beating up on us. So I mean, that's the thing. Like, you got to get to these duels, and if you're not seeing a duel where it's that exciting, go find a duel and go watch it, because you'd be impressed to watch a duel like that. I think we might have beat Columbiana by 3 and Southern Local by 3. And I mean, our match was like 2 matches away, right? 2 matches flip. Wellsville beats us last year. And that's how close these duels are for us.
Yeah. That is a perfect way to end this interview, by making sure people go out and watch you guys and support you guys. Coach, thank you so much for coming on. We know you got to get back to your day job, and we appreciate the time for sure.
Yeah, appreciate me. Thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it. Keep it up, because this is awesome for the area to see all this stuff, man. They need to know more about wrestling.
Right. Yeah. Hey, share the link, and we need to get more eyes on this and more people in the stands.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you later.
You got it, Coach. Ooh, that was fun, Coach. Coach Beaumont.
Yeah,
I got it.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's done such a great job there. And the thing is, it's hard. You can't not like Kenny Beaumarriage.
No.
You know, the one thing about him, when you get around him, all he wants to talk about is you, your program, and your kids. So he's an infectious guy. He's a positive guy. He's a guy that I'm sure the kids adore him because he builds you up. And having a guy like that run a wrestling program, they're going to be successful for as long as he's going to be there. All those things that I talked about play into it. His personality, you can see he's a pretty mellow, even-keeled, emotionally even-keeled guy, which helps a lot too. I think that's the United program is going to be around for a while and going to be successful. But man, hearing about his girls, which I didn't realize, I didn't know a lot of that stuff about his girls team. The way that sport is growing in this state, if they're doing that well, they could really put themselves on a map as a district for a girls wrestling powerhouse. It'll be exciting to see that in Columbiana County.
Got a little sibling rivalry with Dakota and her brother, who's going to be ranked higher at the end of the year.
Yeah, and you see that a lot in wrestling. If one sibling wrestles, a lot of the time there'll be another sibling that does as well, and that's great. I mean, it's a family affair. It makes it easier for the parents to be able to come and watch their kids all at the same place at the same time, and the kids stay more motivated when they have a sibling involved. I've had sets of twins, brothers. I've had brothers and sisters on the team like Kenny does. It's just great to hear this from other local coaches.
Yeah, and this is what we wanted this segment to morph into. We're going to have more and more coaches come on as the season goes on, and that way it doesn't get stale. We love talking to Gary, but we want to get some other voices too.
Yeah. Hey, I get tired of hearing myself from so anybody else who wants to come on, we could get guys on here for every week if you wanted. And wrestling coaches are eager to talk about the sport because they love it so much, and it's not in the mainstream. So having an outlet like this is so appreciative. I thank you guys for letting me come on. You and Ty have been great every week. You've been complimentary, and you're always excited about it, which really gets me excited as well. Talking to an average person about wrestling, and sometimes it goes in one ear and out the other, but being here, talking to you guys, having intentional, thoughtful questions to be able to talk about our kids, it's been great.
I mean, me and Ty talked about it before wrestling season even started. We wanted to learn about it more so we could cover it better. And we said, what better way than to get a guru on, get an expert on to come on and teach us about it, and then we can cover it a lot better.
Well, the expert part is but I'll help you as much as I can. Anytime. I'm looking forward to, hopefully one day I can help you guys and maybe call a match on a night that I'm off. I think that would be a lot of fun. And I tell you, people beg to watch wrestling online, high school wrestling matches online. So you start running with that. I think that the viewership will be, you'll be rewarded.
We're definitely looking forward to that and being able to do that in the future. I know we've had wrestling on in the past, and we'll definitely be able to get it on again here before the end of the season. Gary, thanks so much for taking the time this week and talking with us and having another wonderful segment of Wrestling Wednesdays here with Gary Altizer.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I'll have a lot of results from the OVAC tournament next week and a lot to talk about. It's an exciting time to be a coach this week, so I'll definitely be ready next week.
As you said it off air, the next maybe month or so is going to be real busy for wrestling.
Yeah, it is. We have the OVAC tournament this weekend. Then next weekend, the 22nd, we have our own home tournament called the Buck Bailey. That's in memorial of the biggest Wellsville wrestling supporter we've ever known, Buck Bailey. We named it after him. Then the following week is that big EOWL tournament. So, yeah, the next 3 or 4 weekends are big ones.
So buckle your seatbelt, wrestling fans. It's about to get very, very fun. All right, Gary, thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
That was Gary Altizer, and he is with us every Wednesdays for Wrestling Wednesdays with him. We'll have him again on next week, and we're going to take a quick break and be back with Scotty Mincher in the studio next on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Working with your family can be stressful at times, but because they're family, you know you're going to get a loving, honest answer, even when things don't make sense to any problem. Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air,
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
online,
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
on social media, and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Jimmy Sutton here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and two of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with you. And while Ty is on vacation, we got Scotty Mincher in the studio today. And Scotty, another week that Ty's ducking you.
Yeah,
I think he's scared.
He's ducking me. He's ducking the backup quarterback. I know that I'm not Ty, but I know that I have been gaining ground on him the past couple of weeks.
The last time you went was 2 weeks ago. It was just you and Ty, and I think you won that week.
I did. I did. So I got some confidence for next week. I was all ready today. I overheard you saying last week he was going on his vacation. Then I forgot about it. Coming in today, I was already rapid fire, just ready to rattle them off, pepper them with questions. But I guess I'll have to keep him in the holster.
He's hiding. He's hiding in Disney with Mickey Mouse. So.
I've never been to Disney. I hear it's great. My family's gonna be taking my niece, I think, for her 7th birthday this year. But yeah, and that's maybe I should put it on my bucket list.
You wonder how much it's open right now with all this craziness. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if they have staff for everything, or those lines were wicked to wait through. Even with the normal staff. So who knows? I mean, you might be standing in line for 3 hours. Well, not us, because that's one of the reasons why you get handicapped in life, because you get to bypass lines at Disney World. It's just one of the perks.
Yeah, and people, they might look at us on the surface, say we're at a disadvantage, but we look at the perks, don't we, Anthony?
We look at those people as we go past them in line and give them the deuces, give them the Tyreek Hill deuces, and
we say one day we're gonna take over. We're forming the Crippletron,
taking over the
world,
one day at a time, Scotty.
Yeah,
and then they'll fear us. You're going to kind of take the place of Ty today, because we have to do our recaps. So we're going to talk about local, recap last night's scores and actions. And let's talk about some of the scores from last night's boys basketball action. We had Columbiana beating East Palestine 73-14, Scotty. The Clippers were able to do a lot of good things last night against the Bulldogs, and offensive spurt from the Clippers.
Man, 73-14. That's really putting shellacking on.
It's kind of like
taking them out to the woodshed.
Do you remember the scene in Space Jam where it's just like tripling the scoreboard and it goes pops up and says, kind of one-sided, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what I thought about. Yeah. But shout out to Columbiana's Nick Millian for breaking the record for most points in a game. And I believe he also broke the record for 3-point field goals in a game in that matchup with East Palestine as well. So Columbiana not only getting the win, getting some milestones and records broken as well. We move on to Struthers. They came back on South Range and avoided the upset. 49-46, they get the win on the road.
I mean, anytime you could get a win on the road, even if you start off a little lethargic or sluggish, anytime you could get a big victory on the road, the good teams find a way to win, and that's what Struthers did last night.
And one thing Struthers proved last year as a program is they could get over some slow starts, because there were several games last year during that incredible run where they went undefeated all the way up until their regional tournament game. They had a lot of games where they would find themselves in a little bit of a hole in the first half and dug themselves right out of it. And that was a story last night. They were down by, I believe, as much as 13 and came back on South Range, got the win with foul shots down, knocking down foul shots in the fourth quarter. 49-46, they get the win over the Raiders. West Branch, they stay undefeated. 51-48, they get the win over Marlington. And this was a tough one, probably the toughest test for West Branch's season so far, but they're still perfect on the year.
Hey, survive and advance, right?
Survive and advance in the EBC, as that's a big one in the Warriors' journey to try to win 3 conference championships in a row. Wellsville, they bounce back from their upset on Friday against Lisbon. They get the win over Valley Christian, 54-44.
Yeah, and that's another sign of growth. Anytime you could come off a loss, I mean, obviously in sports and any sport, you got to have that short memory. So if you could come off a defeat and not just get a win, but get a double-digit win, that's really impressive.
Short memory, like me in the third grade, best 2 years of my life. We go to Ursuline and Mooney. This one is just gonna like boggle your mind, okay? Because this is the last week of basketball for you. Cardinal Mooney beats Cheney handedly, 50-38 last Tuesday. Cheney beats Ursuline 75-52 on Friday. But on Tuesday night, Ursuline dominates Mooney 51-27 in round one of the Holy War, proving that it's not always looking at common opponents to decide who's going to be the better team on that night on the basketball floor. It can't always be that simple. Sometimes matchups matter, and Ursuline matched up really well with Mooney. Got the win 51-27, despite the vast differences in how their games with Cheney went.
And I think, and I don't know, maybe this is kind of a backwards or the reverse way of looking at it, Anthony, but I've always thought, when people say that, oh, we're playing this team and they killed so-and-so and we beat them by even more, so we're going to, we're favored in this matchup. I don't really look at just teams going as far as the head-to-head. If they knocked off someone and it was really impressive and then they play an opponent that lost to that team, I necessarily always try to look at, okay, what are the matchups, not so much the results earlier in the year.
That's interesting, Scotty, because I remember a lot of Browns fans last year saying that because they were so close to beating Kansas City that they too would have taken down the Bills easily because Kansas City beat up the Bills in the AFC Championship. So I didn't say you didn't say it. I don't know if you said it. That was a lot of talk.
I always said, Anthony, the way I put it, and it was, I think we talked about it on the air. I don't necessarily, there were some people, including a guy that used to work here, that thought the Browns would have got totally steamrolled. I was on record as saying I don't think they would have got steamrolled, but I think it would have been I think they would have had a shot, but I don't think you just, roll on the road and win that game, especially, with Josh Allen really emerging last year. So I wasn't in that camp that the Browns definitely would have won, but I think they would have had a puncher's chance anyway.
So let's get back to our recaps. We'll get back to some national talk later. United, they get the win over Lisbon, 53-43. Lisbon beat Wellsville, a big win for them on Friday. They couldn't keep the momentum going against United.
Then that's kind of a little bit of a not the highest scoring match up there. At least the final score being 50, the winning team just scoring over 50 to get the victory. But that's one where, I always say, if you have it at 10 or under 10 with about 7 minutes to go in the game, you have a chance. So they couldn't keep their momentum going, as you said, but it's one that, you just gotta kind of try to flush it down the toilet and again have that short memory.
Let's track back a little bit, because in that Struthers win over South Range, DJ Oakley had a chance to catch up with Struthers head coach Michael Wernicke. So let's hear what he had to say post-game press conference after their comeback win over South Range.
With Coach Wernicke, an adverse win in the NE8. Nothing ever comes easy. Talk to me about what you saw tonight.
Well, listen, we beat a good team. I don't care what their record is. I said to our guys coming into this week, how tough this game was going to be. It's always hard for us to play here. Coach Klusenek's doing a great job. He's got some great young kids, and they played hard. They never stopped competing, and they put us in a lot of adverse situations. And, fortunately, we were fortunate enough as the game went on in the second half to kind of figure out, okay, we got to change our style a little bit, do something different. And it allowed us to get some easier baskets that we capitalized on. But, that's a really good basketball team that's going to win a lot of games moving forward. They have a lot of different pieces. They can shoot the ball, they can rebound the ball, and they're physically tough. The defense they play is tough to get inside.
Down 13. What do you tell your team?
We're fine. I mean, you can't panic on the road. We've been down before. I felt like if we could just string, 2 stops in a row, then, maybe we can get a basket to help us out. And we did, and it was a tough game for both groups. I'm sure, there was some play in the paint that, both of us, Coach Clue and myself, were probably like, I'm not sure about that. But when you have 2 teams that are playing that hard, it is hard to officiate, kids that are playing really hard. And they're physical by nature. They've always been. So we were fortunate tonight.
Last one for you. Talk about Sal's performance. I mean, started out the game hot, ended the game hot, really came up in the clutch for you tonight.
He's been kind of he's been a rock all year. He's been very consistent. He got us going early on the glass and finished some easy ones inside, stayed on the glass. He didn't always get the rebound, but his hands on the ball kind of helped other people grab those loose balls and put them in. I think Ronnie Leonard and Nick Delgado were the beneficiary of a couple of those. But he was, for a guy of his size to play that many minutes and be disciplined, he didn't really have any fatigue fouls tonight, which I was very proud of him on. He was a huge catalyst in us winning this game.
That was Coach Wernicke of Struthers and his thoughts after their win over South Range on last night. On the road, as he said, down by as much as 13, they were able to come back, make some adjustments, and get that win.
And I just wanted to say real quickly, Anthony, that anytime I think like basketball, and this might be, people might say that I'm being Captain Obvious here, but I really do, as I've watched basketball over the years, and more specifically here at YSN, even more so in the last year and a half, catching games. It's such a game of runs in more than any other sport. A team's going to go on a run, but in basketball, and I think in high school basketball, as long as you could focus on like not getting away from your game plan and maybe creating some pressure with turnovers and things of that nature. You just make sure the ball is moving, constantly moving, and other guys are touching the ball. You could really get in the rhythm. And that's when I see guys like Struthers has had all year that they're able to rely on, that are rocks solid, like the coach said. And that's when you need them most in crunch time. And you don't see any panic out of Struthers. And I think that's the thing that's most impressive about them.
Like I said, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they were there a lot last year. I mean, they saw last year's team. Well, of course, a lot of last year's players graduated, but those kids were still on the bench. They were still going through all those timeouts. They saw last year's team make a lot of adjustments in first halves after some slow starts. So I think that they had this identity. We're not going to panic. We're just going to make some adjustments, and we'll be fine. They slowly but surely worked their way back in that game, and then they made the game-winning plays down the stretch that mattered. Let's continue our final scores recaps from last night. Springfield, no problems there. They get the win over Waterloo, 66-46. Ty Bartell, even though he's on vacation, we're still going to hear from him because he had the chance to catch up with Coach Jeff Brink and Beau Brungard after this win. Let's hear what they had to say in their post-game press conferences after their win over Waterloo.
Welcome back, everyone, as I am here now with winning coach Jeff Brink, part of the 66-46 win for the Springfield Tigers over Waterloo. Coach, we talked a little bit with Beau about this, but question I'm going to extend to you now. I mean, that was a 30-28 game going into halftime, and then third quarter, you guys flipped the switch. The offense seemed to have woken up, and a giant was woken up, it seems like. Just talk to me a little bit about that halftime talk and what you saw from the team that they executed so well coming out of the half.
Well, we didn't go in and, we're not breaking clipboards and throwing water bottles. It's one of those, we got a veteran team. And we realized, and everybody in the locker room realized that we could play better. That we came out very lackadaisical. We know it's a Tuesday night. We just didn't play well. And I thought defensively our focus wasn't good enough. So our primary objective was we got to be better on the defensive end. So we tried to change the tempo up a little bit. We pressed a little bit, got after them, and I thought we were able to generate turnovers. And it's easy to do when you have leadership in the locker room that we have. And, you talked to Beau tonight. But Beau Brungard is just a treasure to have as a coach. I've known the family my entire life. I grew up with, the brothers, Matt and Mark. And to have an opportunity to coach them it's just, again, I feel blessed. And the other young men that we have are just as equal. I mean, you look at Adam and what he's done, and Alex. I thought Alex's effort tonight was just phenomenal. He dominated the glass. We were able to get him the ball inside. Jake came through, had a couple big buckets for us, and Shondell had a good third quarter. I think the defense was the key, though. We said, well, let's turn it up on the defensive end. The offense will be there. And if we get the defense going, we'll generate transition. We'll get some freebies. And we were able to do that. And I think the defensive pressure was the key.
Looking at the offense, too, one of the reasons I think you guys were so successful was just the ball movement, I feel like, increased. And it was jacked up to 11, it seems like, going into that second half. Beau Brungard wins player of the game primarily because of the ball going through his hands a lot. Talk to me a little bit about his skill as a passer. And, I mean, we know he's capable of going out getting you 20, 30 a night when he needs to. But when he passes first, too, he can make this team successful in other ways. Talk to me about a little bit about what that's like, having him as a skilled passer as well.
One thing we have is very unselfish players, and we have numerous guys that are willing to give up the ball. I mean, if you look at our stats, I mean, it's impressive because the teammanship and the unselfish play is evident on the stat sheet. When you see guys that are willing to make the other players around him better, and Beau's one of those guys, and Adam's been tremendous at that too. I mean, Adam's a guy that he could come out and score 25, 30 most nights, and he still passes the ball, and actually want him to be a little more selfish because he's passing up on a lot of good shots because he loves setting up his teammates, and Beau's in the same boat. We're fortunate that we have four guys that are double-digit guys, and I think our guys, Shondell and Sean Guerrero, are both capable of scoring also, and they can give us games. I mean, there's the games where Shondell comes out and he's pumping in 15. So it's nice to have that luxury of having depth. And again, Beau's also a great rebounder, and you look at his rebound stats, he's just a physical player for his size. At 6'6'1", he's also 215 pounds of muscle, and he can go in and dominate the glass. And Alex has been dominant all year on the glass. I mean, he's averaging around 12, 13 boards a game, and Beau's right up there for a guard who plays a lot on the perimeter. He's still got a ton of rebounds. So the thing that I think sets Beau apart, too, is the grit. I mean, the competitiveness. And we have a lot of guys that they don't like to lose, and they just refuse to lose, and they don't want to lose. And a lot of those guys, they haven't lost many in their career, so there's a certain passion and expectation that we're going to go out and find a way.
Talking about that now, I mean, you're 6-0 in the conference, 10-0 overall in this season. You guys look to be on a hot streak. You look to have everything figured out. How do you guys get better and continue to grow from this point on?
Attention to detail. We say it every day. Our attention to detail has to be better, and I think that is evident in the first half. We did not have good attention to detail on defense. We didn't jump to the ball. We were slow on some cuts. We didn't bust the cutter, followed to trail some plays, and it's just fundamental things that you have to have a certain discipline and attention to detail to be successful. And it's something that we hang our hat on rebounding. And at the end of the game, we didn't do a very good job. And when we were trying to close out the game on the glass, and it's something that we're going to get better at, and we're going to continue to work until we can be better at those little details.
Final question for you, Coach, as we saw yet again, I mean, and as Beau Brungard even said too, you guys are about an hour away from home, and still, I saw the student section and the fan section, visitor section, I should say, lined with Springfield faithful. Talk to me a little bit about just what that means for a Springfield community when you guys have those diehards that are willing to travel no matter the distance to be
you're
there.
coming out on a Tuesday night, an hour trip, and Tiger Nation's unbelievable. I mean, it's just unbelievable, and that's why I went home. I grew up there. This is what it was like. I remember when we played down at Salem, in the tournament, there would be 3,500 people there, and 90% of them were Springfield people. And that's more people than live in the town. People came home from other towns and cities to see a tournament game. They would come home to see Springfield basketball, Springfield football, our baseball team at state. You go down there and it's just, it was a celebration. And in a small town, it revolves around the school, and there's a certain pride in being a Tiger and something that we think is very special. We take it very seriously. And it's one of the reasons why, when I left, I had a dream of coming home someday and being able to be here back in my home with my family and my friends and the people that I grew up with. And again, I'm blessed by the Lord to have the opportunity to be here.
It's good to be home for Jeff Brink, and it's good to be a Tiger right now as they are 10-0, 6-0 in the conference, and look to continue to roll after a 66-46 win over Waterloo tonight. Thank you so much, Coach.
You're welcome.
Welcome back, everyone, as I am here now with tonight's player of the game, Beau Brungard, as part of 66-46 win for Springfield over Waterloo. Beau, just talk to me a little bit. Halftime, it was 30-28 in favor of you guys, and then coming into that third quarter, a switch was flipped. What was that halftime talk like with Coach Brink, and what did you guys come out with that was so effective against Waterloo?
Yeah, to start the game, we were just a little bit lackadaisical, and I don't think we were mentally prepared. But then going into the second half, we talked in the locker room. We just have to sit down and play defense, and we knew we were going to pressure them a little bit, full court, and so we did it and we executed, and in the end it worked, and we were able to create some turnovers, and then we hit some big shots. We hit some threes in the third quarter. They really helped us, and our big guys down low got some good looks. I think we had a little bit of size advantage on them. So getting the ball down low and making some shots really helped us.
Talking a little bit about you playing the point, and you played that primarily this game. You played it primarily a lot of games too. Talk to me a little bit. What is the differences like being from going under center on the football field to playing point guard on the hardwood? Obviously, you're still, the ball's most of the time going through your hands. Talk to me a little bit about just trying to be the engine, I guess, on both teams, and what the differences are, what the similarities are in that.
Yeah, it really is similar, in both sports, because both times you kind of got to command the field, or in this case, the court. You just got to command it, and you kind of got to just guide everyone and tell them what to do. And the ball's in your hands, so you have a big responsibility to take care of it. And coming into the year, I knew I was going to play point, and something I didn't do in the past, but it's something that new. And I think football, just playing quarterback and having the ball a lot, it's helped me understand you got to take care of the ball and not to be lackadaisical and stuff. So I think there's a lot of similarities on how to do both.
Obviously, the football season ended with a little bit of a whimper, as you guys didn't complete what you wanted to do. But there's a lot of guys on that football team that are on this team. Is that the way the football season helping drive this team right now? Because you guys now 10-0 start, looking to be one of the top 10 teams in the area, number 3 right now ranked, and just on the upswing. Just talk to me a little bit. Did that football season help motivate these guys? And talk to me just about this team chemistry right now.
Right now we're playing really well, and coming off the football season, really didn't have a lot of time to practice or get prepared for our first game. But I just think football, the physicality of it, and taking that and putting it onto the basketball court with boxing out and setting screens and all that, I think having a lot of football guys on the basketball team really helps in just the physical aspect of basketball. And I think we've been able to do that well. And that last game of football, didn't end well. And so I think we were able to take it, our first game being so close to it, we were able to go right into it and kind of use that as a little motivation.
Talking about that, though, you guys have been so successful on the football field the last few years, and you bring up the preseason. I mean, you virtually haven't ever had a preseason in basketball. So just talk to me about going from football into basketball. How do you get yourself mentally prepared, mentally focused, and how are you able to keep finding success on the hardwood coming right off of the football field?
Yeah, typically after football, you get really a couple days of practice before you got to get into a game. So, some days you got to wake up early to go to the school before school starts and just get some shots up. You got to get a lot of shots up. You just got to go over plays a lot. And usually at the beginning of the season, you're not really fully ready, I guess, but you just get thrown in there and you just got to do it. And as time goes on early in the season, you kind of get back into the swing of things. But I would say just you got to get a lot of shots up and get back in that swing of making the shots.
Final question for you, Beau, and then I'll let you go. Obviously, this is your last hoorah with all these Springfield athletics before you take your talents over to Youngstown and stay in the area, which I'm sure we're all excited for. But just talk to me a little bit about this Springfield community, what it's meant to you in your 4-year career and on the hardwood and on the football field, and what this support has meant to you as an athlete for the last 4 years.
I mean, like, coming from Springfield, it's just kind of like a family. We're all just so close, and the fan base. We're out here an hour away in Waterloo, and we still got tons of fans coming to support. Our fan base is the best, and I just think ever since we've been playing for so long, and we've been stuck together, and that translates from whatever sport we're doing, whether that be football or basketball. Whatever we're doing, it's just like we got a chemistry with what we do. And yeah, Springfield community is the best, and whatever they do, and it's awesome.
Tigers continue to earn their stripe. Another win inside the MVAC. They go to 10-0 on the year. Beau Brungard is your player of the game, 66-46, and a winner over Waterloo. Thank you so much, Beau.
That was Jeff Brink and Beau Brungard after Springfield's win over Waterloo last night, sharing their thoughts about the win and their thoughts about the Springfield community as well.
Yeah, Anthony, a couple of things I wanted to point out. I just mentioned how important it was, and I emphasized how vital I thought it was in basketball. Ball movement was to the game of basketball, and I think that's what really helped Struthers avoid the upset in that game we talked about against South Range a few moments ago. But Springfield's ball movement, and the thing that makes them most impressive is they can really, and it's not always a good thing because you want to come out and start at your best, but it's impossible to come out with the same level of intensity and energy every single night. So the switch that Springfield can flip is really impressive. And Sean Guerrero and also Beau Brungard, everybody talks about, and I think it was a Power Hour episode, DJ alluded to this. Everyone talks about Beau on the football field, and rightfully so, with the deep playoff runs, the really deep runs the last 3 years, almost bringing home a state title, couple state titles. But he's a guy that wreaks havoc. Nothing short of it on the basketball court as well. He's just a force to deal with, and I'm really excited to see what he's gonna bring to Youngstown State University.
All right, let's continue going through some of the last scores from last night as well. Latonia, they get the big win at Southern Local. They win 51-41. You get Poland, they avoid the upset. They win 44-42 over a scrappy Lakeview team. And then you have Lowville cleared for takeoff. They win over Middle Ridge 65-38. So your alma mater not slowing down a bit on the basketball floor.
No, they are not. And the Lady Rockets also, I believe, they're coming off of a victory.
They're gonna win on Monday, yeah.
Yeah, they're coming off a victory as well. So they're looking like, they could be something special here.
Scotty, every day me and Ty pick the games of the night. It's a slower night tonight. Girls basketball action on a Wednesday. You're welcome to pick with us if you want to pick. And we're going to get through these picks, and then we'll go to your what you brought to the table today. So as always, you have the Twitter fan poll you can be a part of. Go to Twitter, and the handle is at Running Point YSN. And the first game to pick tonight is a big one in the AAC Hubbard taking on Canfield. This is all girls basketball action. Canfield leads the fan poll 74% to 26%. But Howland's been looking really, really good the last 2 weeks.
Did you said Howland or Hubbard?
Howland.
Okay. And you said it. It's kind of tough because Howland has looked really good the last couple of weeks, but something about Canfield and that program, I just feel like they're gonna be able to get the job done.
It's in Canfield too, so they are the home team.
Yeah, they got the home court advantage. I just feel like it's gonna be closer than maybe a lot of people think, but I feel like down the stretch, Canfield will execute. They'll knock the free throws down if they have to. They'll do what they got to do to get the victory. So I agree with the fans there. I go with the Cardinals.
2 big dog winners going at it is Alyssa Dill won last week. She'll be on the Canfield side. And Alyssa Pompalia, who is very, very close to 1,000 career points, expected to get it tonight. She'll be on the other side for Howland. And it should be a fun one. Richie Giuliano will have the call. Warren Harding in the AAC is going to travel to Boardman. This one is won by the Spartans so far on the fan vote, 62% to 38%. By the way, I picked Howland to win that game, Scotty. I'm going to split with you over there. For this one, I'm going to take Boardman, Scotty. Who do you have winning between Warren Harding and Boardman in girls basketball?
I really like Boardman and, what has become of that program, what they've been able to do. But I have a feeling here. I've always been a pretty big follower of Warren G. Harding. And I just got this feeling here. I usually don't like picking against them. And I'm going to pick them to pull off what a lot of people would see as maybe a mini upset here. So give me the Raiders.
Scotty's got a feeling, and he can't fight it. It's sounding like REO Speedwagon. Can't fight this feeling, man.
Yeah.
I'll take Boardman. You'll take Harding. And the next one, we have West Branch traveling to Carrollton. And Scotty, of 7 votes in this poll, all of them going to West Branch. They have 100% charge of the fan vote.
Yeah, and I got to be honest, I don't know a ton about Carrollton, but I do know quite a bit about West Branch. So I'm just going to have to stick with West Branch.
The Battle of the Warriors. This game was dangerously close when they met in Beloit. West Branch was able to win by 4. I think they'll be able to get the win this time around, maybe by an even better margin this time. Heartland Christian Girls, they travel to Cheney. Right now, Heartland has the 78% fan vote edge. I'm going to take Heartland to get the win on the road. Scotty, what about you?
This is you like Heartland getting the win on the road, and a lot of fans do. This is where I like taking the home dogs here. So I'm gonna go Cheney here.
Scotty's riding with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
To win this game. We move on to Struthers traveling to Ursuline. Ursuline has 78% of the fan vote right now. Struthers, though, they've been a lot more competitive the last 2 weeks. They only lost by 5 to South Range a couple of days ago. And then on last Thursday, they played pretty hard against some other NE8 teams. So Struthers, no pushover. They're going to Ursuline, who has had a couple of struggles this year, but they had a big win on Monday against Heartland Christian. So I'm going to take Struthers in this game, Scotty. I think Chloe Nieder's going to have a good game, and I think the Wildcats get the win.
I think Struthers, as you just mentioned, Anthony, I think they're going in the right direction, and things are looking up. But Ursuline coming off that big win, they really there's not too much I really don't like from just a skill and a philosophy standpoint what they've done about this Ursuline team. So even though I think Struthers is going in the right direction, I'm gonna agree with the fans here and go with the Irish.
Man, you just want to. I think you just want to split with me the whole time. Whenever I pick, you're just like, oh, take that, Anthony. We'll go to the next one. This one's a big one happening in Louisville as state-ranked Marlington comes to town. Louisville, very good team, 9-3. They just went on the road on Saturday and beat New Philadelphia, who was 9-1 on the year going into that game. So Louisville, Marlington, it could be big for the power rankings, and I'll take the home team, Louisville, even though the fans, they're taking Marlington 75% in the vote. Scotty, what way are you leaning?
Yeah, again, I love the home dog, so give me the home dog. I'm gonna agree with you this time, Anthony.
I want to call them the home cats or the leopards. Get them the home cats.
Yeah, home cats.
Yeah,
let's go with the home cats.
Warren JFK traveling to Southeast. Southeast has 62% of the fan vote. Scotty, I'll let you take this one first.
You said this is Warren JFK, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know Southeast has more of the fan vote here at just over 60%, but I'm gonna go. This is another one of those games. I think it's gonna be tight all the way. I think it's gonna be tight throughout the game, a back and forth, a seesaw battle, and I got a feeling about Warren JFK. So another feeling I got. Give me the Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly.
He's rocking that REO Speedwagon again.
Yeah.
I like rocking the banner, Scotty. Company man. We'll take the YSN team, Warren JFK, to win.
All right. So we agree once again.
Can we make it 3 in a row? Is Canton South traveling to Salem? Salem number 1 in our power rankings for the last 2 weeks. And they'll put that to the test against the Wildcats. They have the fan vote 80% going to the Quakers in 10 votes. So 2 people out there believe in Canton South. I don't know if we're 2 of them though.
Oh well, I'm not gonna be. I love everything about the Salem program. And how do you not love the name Quakers?
When you have to have an oxymoron to say fighting Quakers, you're sitting there like, what? Because everyone knows that the Quakers are pacifists.
Yeah.
So when you say fighting Quakers, you're sitting there like, huh?
Yeah, it makes you think a lot. So I can't go. I just cannot go against them. I have to go with the Quakers. And
Scotty's
with
eating
the
his
fans
oatmeal, going with Mr. Quaker.
Yep.
Love it. What's your favorite oatmeal flavor?
I'd probably say apple cinnamon with strawberry banana being a close second.
Mine is cinnamon and spice. Cinnamon and spice. I think it's the red banner for the Quaker oatmeal. Gotta love it. My brother likes the purple. I think it's like raisin grape. And I'm like,
have you ever had the? You know what else is pretty good? Have you ever had the s'more?
S'more oatmeal?
Yeah, s'more oatmeal.
No, but I don't know if those two tastes really go together in my palate.
Yeah, it's
that's like chocolate marshmallow plus that like whippiness of Oreo.
You got to give it
oatmeal.
At least try it out, Anthony.
If you know anything about me, Scotty, you know I'm not like trying new things with foods.
That's right. That's right. Because
pretty much like give me chicken fingers and give me a cheese pizza kind of guy.
Yeah, because I remember there was pizza here a few weeks back, and it was like
I got called out.
Briar Hill and DJ's like, yeah, Anthony won't touch any of that. You like plain. So I'd imagine if you did drink beer, I know you don't, Anthony, but if you did drink beer, I would imagine you'd be just like a Bud Light guy. Just give me that plain taste.
Whatever's that plain taste, I don't know. I'm a plain Jane, Scotty. Gotta love the cheese pizza. Gotta love the hot dog without condiments. I'm probably getting roasted in the comments right now. I'm gonna go check.
Yeah.
No one roasted me. That's good. Okay. That does it for our picks, by the way. I picked Salem to get the win over Canton South as well, and continue that logjam at top of the EBC where West Branch, Marlington, and Salem all have one league loss to each other. Scotty, West Branch beat Marlington, Marlington beat Salem, and Salem beat West Branch. So it's going to be interesting going forward in this EBC, especially when they play each other a second time.
Yeah, it will be. Who do you see, Anthony? Like, who or what do you think will be key factors in those? What's the X factor to you when it comes to those matchups?
Every matchup is different. I think like when you talk like West Branch versus Salem when they meet each other again, I think West Branch needs to try to get some more looks on the perimeter. I think they really struggle with trying to drive inside against Salem's defense that rotates so well and so fast. They're so quick. So I think trying to get some open looks on the perimeter, maybe get Hannah Egley some open shots, maybe Sophie Gregory some open shots too off the dribble. She's getting pretty good as a point guard. And then you go to Marlington Salem. That's going to be just a straight up defensive battle. I wouldn't expect it to go over 40 points. Same with West Branch Marlington. The first round, 32-31, West Branch won on a buzzer beater. So I think that one, can you take that momentum of winning the first time? Because you're going to have a lot of energy because Marlington is going to be upset about the way they lost that game. And they're going to come into that game
guns a-blazing.
They're going to be the guy that thinks they can take on hell with a squirt gun, man. They're just going to be, full metal to the metal, pedal to the metal, metal to the pedal. What am I doing? Full pedal to the metal, and they're going to make sure that they go hard against West Branch. But I think each matchup presents an interesting kind of formula to it, and I'm excited to see all three matchups go out again. It'll be Salem Marlington will be at Marlington, West Branch Marlington will be at Marlington, and then West Branch Salem will be at Salem. So
should be a real treat to take in. One final thing, Anthony. I don't know if you had anything else, but
it's your turn.
Before we get into national stuff and a football playoff preview, I just wanted to talk a little bit about. Don't know how much you know. I mean, I know you know about the teams, but don't know how much you paid attention to last night. But Camel, who's right now number one in the boys basketball power ranking, they got another narrow victory, pulling out a tight one over the Liberty Leopards. So, do you think
it was impressive because for the first time, Campbell had a very close game that was winnable down the stretch. I mean, when they played Lowville and lost at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, it was close. It wasn't like Lowville blow them out, but the last minute and a half of that game, Campbell was playing from behind, and they had to just try to get back in it. This was one that was down the stretch. Campbell had to make game-winning plays in the fourth quarter to win that game, and it was good to see that team have to do that because all year, all their wins have been like, hey, they won 82-35 or they won 85-41, something like those lopsided scores. So to see them get into a close game and be able to close it out, because we know you can't go through the whole tournament blowing people out. You're going to meet up with a team that's going to take you down to the wire. And seeing Campbell win a close game is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and it is about what you do in those moments because it's easy and everybody's having fun in the blowout wins, but what really tests your grit is what you could do in the close matchups. And I keep pulling for the Devils because not only
be more specific. No, you don't pull for the Devils.
the Red Devils. I should. Yeah, because there's Blue Devils too.
I don't want to get satanic.
I know that. Yeah, pulling for the Red Devils because My parents went to school there. I as a little kid, even though I've always considered myself a Youngstowner, our house was in Camel, and I gotta say I love their floor.
It's
that
brand new,
floor, yeah, it's
Brand new
really
floor.
fancy. So I hope Camel, their success can continue. I should say. I'm getting tongue tied, but I just wanted to bring that up. And now, as we get close,
I think everyone should go over to our Twitter account and watch the video we shared from Camel Memorial's Twitter page, because Kevin Moore hit an absolutely just nasty step back three in that game over Liberty. You have to go see that move. It was ridiculous, and Kevin Moore led them like he usually does every night. So, that kid is something else.
James Harden-esque.
Oh, yeah, except he did it without traveling.
Yeah, Harden does travel.
They actually call traveling in high school basketball, so you have to be able to do it without, taking 5 steps back.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right, Scotty, the floor is yours.
Anthony, in these last 10 minutes, I wanted to talk to you about the NFL playoffs. They are finally here after we had our first season. It was 1 week longer. It was 17 weeks this year. I want to talk to you about the whole playoff picture, but first, to start, just briefly, as I want to spend a couple minutes on, as we close on each topic. Obviously, the Chiefs coming off a pounding of the Steelers a few weeks back. They're heavily favored in this game, double-digit favorites. Other than T.J. Watt, Anthony, because I think he's the obvious one. I mean, he tied Michael Strahan's single-season sack record. Now, he had an extra game, but he also missed 2 games, and he still did that.
One of those 2 games was not in Kansas City when they played each other. I think he played in that game against the Chiefs. So, you look at it, Mahomes has been a player that's been able to escape from pressure, unless it's like all out, like Tampa Bay was in the Super Bowl, where he was literally running for his life every time he stepped back with the ball.
Well, in that too, though, your offensive line was so
it was put together by duct tape at that point in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's why I thought it was kind of unfair that we got rid of some of the people that were injured in the Super Bowl. I was like, our offensive line at full strength last year was pretty dang good. And then the Super Bowl happened, and everyone's like, we got to trash the offensive line. It was like most of those guys in that game weren't necessarily starters in the offensive line, but we got rid of them, and we got a brand new offensive line. We have the highest rated center in the NFL, I believe, according to PPR. I don't know how much strength you put in the PPR rankings, but Creed Humphrey's been doing a really good job. Then we get, you mix with veterans like Orlando Brown that we got from Baltimore. So some young guys on the line, some new guys on the line, but then some veterans on the line as well.
But and where I was getting at, I guess, Anthony,
I know where you're going.
Other than TJ Watt, does anything like give you pause or make you sweat about this game going into? I mean, we could obviously say it's one and you're done, so one bad game and you're out. We obviously know that. But just on the surface, it looks like this is all Chiefs all day.
Those are the ones that scare me the most, though. Those are the ones that scare me the most. When I don't want Big Ben to ever come into a game feeling like he's disrespected, because I think despite the times when Big Ben has not looked great this year, I guess you would say, I feel like he's going to be one of those guys that just has a playoff kind of different mindset in the playoffs. I mean, the loss last year in Cleveland has to be sitting in his head like, we are not going to go out and let that happen to us again. So I don't think the Chiefs are going to run away with this game like everyone thinks. I don't think it's going to be a repeat of the regular season matchup. thing that scares me the most about Pittsburgh is Najee Harris. I mean, the Chiefs' bugaboo has been stopping the run, and everyone wants to keep the ball away from Patrick Mahomes. So I assume that the Steelers will run the ball and try to establish that tone. And if we don't get a lead on them early, and, our playoff games last 2 years, we've been giving up leads early. I mean, we had to come back on Houston 2 years ago, 24-0. We came back on Tennessee 17-7. So I don't think we can afford to give Pittsburgh a big lead, because they'll just hand it off to Najee, who's been having a pretty good season compared to what the Steelers' run game was last year. So I think Najee scares me the most in that run game, and being able to slow that down and make Big Ben have to throw 30, 40 times a game.
And it should be really riveting to watch. You talk about how the Chiefs have struggled against the run, but also the Steelers, going back to it's been since the early part of the year, they've really struggled against the run as well.
You watch their defense, and Steelers, they just, for some reason, they've lost that. Like, we always thought Steelers defense, no matter how many yards they give up, they're going to hit you hard, and they're going to be physical, and they're going to make sure that when they do tackle you, you're going to feel it. But I see so many Steelers this year arm tackles and just kind of diving at guys' legs and things that aren't going to work against professional ball handlers. So I don't know if the whole defense has kind of lost its physical mindset, but they do not tackle well. So we got to get our speed guys in space. Get Tyreek Hill in space. He breaks one tackle on a wide receiver screen, he can be gone. Same with McCole Hardman. So I think we're going to try to use the inability to tackle well against the Steelers.
We have just a couple minutes. Other than Kansas City, Anthony, I know you're going to go with your team, and you believe in your team that they could bring home a set. I believe it will be a second title in 3 years. I know you think it could happen, but who do you think, if it wouldn't be the Chiefs, Anthony, in the AFC, who do you think is best equipped to get to the Super Bowl? And then also the same question for you about the NFC. Who do you see as the best equipped team right now?
I don't know about getting to the Super Bowl, but as far as the best chance to beat Kansas City, and I don't know, you could argue that means that they're going to get to the Super Bowl, but I think New England's defense is going to give our offense a lot of fits, and they always do. I mean, you look at the times that we've hit New England in the playoffs, we were held scoreless in the first half in that AFC Championship back in 18-19. So I think that defense is going to give our offense fits if we run into New England, which we very well could. They still have a long way to go, but we could run into New England in the divisional round, I believe. If the Bengals lose, I think we play the winner of that Patriots game. So we'll see. We'll see it. No. Bengals are the 4 seed. So if the Patriots win as the 6, then for us to play them, we couldn't play them. No, never mind. We wouldn't play them in the divisional, if I'm thinking right.
So
we would have to play them in the AFC Championship.
The Bills have a really good defense too, according to a lot of advanced statistics going all the way back to over a decade ago. Does the Patriots defense still scare you even more than Buffalo?
Absolutely, it does.
Okay.
Because they've shown before, and Belichick has shown before, that they can slow down Patrick Mahomes. And really, Buffalo beat us with offense this year. They didn't really and let's just face it, between weeks maybe 4 and 9, something was going on with Kansas City's offense. I don't know what it was, but they just clearly were not.
Something was fishy.
Something was fishy.
Yeah.
They fixed it. And
something stunk, but they were able to. They got the Febreze.
Yeah. All right, Scotty. We're going to have to step away for today. Thank you so much for coming on and kind of taking Ty's spot for the day. And We're going to take a 22-hour break. We'll be back tomorrow from 12 to 2 with a lot of people to hear from, both live and off-air interviews that we've already recorded. So you won't want to miss tomorrow's show, 12 to 2, from me and myself and I. Casual Sports Podcast coming up next, Power Hour from 3 to 4, and then a bunch of basketball on the network tonight. So until tomorrow, we'll see you.